max speed on high mode.
All personnel, report to the nearest tornado shelter.
This is going to be the trail portion of the testing. I know Skatebolt on their website says 18-mile range, which is pretty crazy. Battery capacity is 6,600 milliamp hours. It is currently 90 degrees. My weight with my gear as of this video is 179.8 pounds. Let's get started. Might be a good chance of my... Man, the Skatebolt is powerful and smooth. The wider deck and the larger wheels make riding at max speed on high mode a joy. I'm averaging around 20 to 22 miles per hour with the 10% light on. With the 10% light blinking, we are still going 21 miles an hour. And we're at 11.4 miles on high full throttle. I'm now getting beeps from the board. Alright, so in my book, the battery's dead. It's not completely dead, gone, but when you are going full throttle and it's not taking you anywhere, that is going to be my terminology of dead battery. But these boards still allow you to use braking, so you can still kick, push, go down hills, stop, brake if you need to, maybe get a little bit of battery back from doing that regenerative braking. Very nice feature. Alright, so today my weight is 180 pounds. It is currently 87 degrees out. Let's just jump right in. Alright, first stop, we have gone 3.1 miles and our top speed 20.8 miles per hour. Battery indicator fluctuating between 100 and 60%. 5.4 miles into the ride so far. On the flat parts here, I'm averaging around 17, 18 miles an hour at full throttle. 7.7 miles. Battery indicator still showing 60%. We're at 11 miles now. Have yet to see the battery go down to the 10% indicator. 12.8 miles. We are now fluctuating between the 10% and 60% battery indicator. We are at 15 miles even. 16 miles in and still keeping that consistent 15, 16, 17 mile per hour speed. 17 miles, still going strong. I'm hearing my first beeps from the board and my 10% battery indicator is blinking on the remote. Ooh, there's a big voltage sag. The board is beeping 4 times in a row. 10% light still blinking on the remote. We are going extremely slow now. But we finished up at 18 and a half miles. That is impressive. So that concludes the range test on flat terrain. Let's now go to the hills. So guys, today, high mode on hills. It's 87 degrees and my weight today is 178. Let's go. Already powering through our first hill at 24 miles per hour. Great stuff. All right, first big hill here on the ride. We're going 22 miles per hour on this steep hill. This thing has some serious power. First hill crushed. All right, we got some big time hills on this ride. This guy really gives you a jolt when you're going up hills. When you're already at those max speeds, it doesn't let you speed up more when you're on the throttle, but then once you hit that hill, the board knows that you slowed down and you can speed up significantly. We hit 28.4 miles per hour on that hill. That was fun. All right, 2.8 miles traveled. We still have all of our battery light indicators on, the 100%, the 60%, and the 10% lights. Something I've definitely noticed, this board is a lot jerkier than the Backfire is. The Backfire, the newer ESC, it's just a completely smoother ride in general. Alright, so 3.6 miles in, I noticed my 100% light shut off, so we're down to the 10 and 60% light indicators still on, but when I let off of the throttle, it goes back up to the 100%. The battery indicators on this remote are significantly different than on the Backfire. The Backfire battery indicators seem to be pessimistic, and the remote indicators on the Skatebolt seem to be optimistic. As long as you know what the range of your board is and you're tracking how far you've gone, you'll be able to tell and know when it's time to turn around or when it's time to stop. Probably as flat as it's gonna get. Going about 23 miles per hour. This sure is one stiff board. No flex whatsoever. You still feel bumps on the Backfire, but you sure do feel everything on this board. So I really do not like the feeling of going fast down a hill and having the board slow you down. And it's jerky, it's not a smooth transition either. You'll be gaining a lot of ground and then it just pulls you back. So I don't really know how I feel about that, but going uphill, man, it feels so much nicer than on the Backfire. If you're looking for speed and power, that's the reason why you buy this board. All right, here we go. Wow. 19 miles per hour. Wow, man. 20. Wow. We're going 20 miles per hour. Crazy. All right, 15 miles per hour. Still though, feels quick. At that highest point on the hill on the Backfire, I was going about 6 miles per hour. I was going 15. It's almost 3 times faster. You can really feel that power. All right, we're at 5.5 miles. And we no longer are going back to that 100% light at all. That light is staying off even if I am off the throttle. Normally I don't like to be on these really busy roads, but I like to test that hill out. So usually I dip off here and then turn back. A little bit of voltage sag there on that last little hill there, going at full throttle. Man, my feet are getting eaten up. All right, first stop, we're at 6.8 miles. We still have the 60% battery indicator on our remote. miles per hour up hills. It's crazy. It feels so good. Like I said though, it's just more of a jerkier overall experience. You're gonna feel little sags here and there. It's not gonna be a perfectly smooth experience like the Backfire is. Being on these busy roads while you're riding, you have to be so much more cautious. Woo. Best part of the trip right here. Those rocks are your enemy. Steer clear of those random piles of small rocks on the road. This grass seems to be okay though. All right, we're at 8 miles and we still have the 60% light on the battery indicator. Still speedy. We're still going 22 miles per hour consistently. We've pretty much been at that speed for the whole entire ride. Like again, if you just want to go far and fast, Those are your two objectives. That's why you get this board. At 8.5 miles, this guy is still speeding up and accelerates the same exact way as it was when it was at 0. So many cars out tonight. All right, 9.5 miles in, let's hit some hills again. .26 miles per hour on that. Nice. Oh, that sucks. The last few miles I was not able to film, but here are my results here. 13.3 miles. Very happy, surprised even at those results. I was expecting to get less range than on the flat route. So on the last 3.3 miles, I would say even at mile 12, I was still going up hills at 20 miles per hour, very respectable. And then the last mile or so, that's when the performance did drop. I was hitting 15 miles per hour on hills and around 17 miles per hour on flat, which is still really good for a very low battery. And then maybe the last quarter mile or even less than, that's when everything just kind of crapped out. There was no more speed. You could go full throttle on the remote and you wouldn't get any response, but you still can brake. So that can get you home or get you a little further if you need to. Let's check out medium mode and see if we get any more additional mileage. All right guys, 6 days later, the rain has finally left. It's gone. Today we are doing the Hilly range test on medium on the Skatebolt Tornado. My weight is 179 pounds. The weather today is 80 degrees. Let's just go. So the medium mode on this board I like a lot. It has slow acceleration, so it speeds you up at a nice, peaceful rate, but it gets up there in speed. I think in my flat test, it's been too long now, but in my flat test, I think I still hit 20 miles per hour at one point. I still picked up pretty good speed on the medium mode. And range-wise, I'm guessing it's gonna be another long one. I got 18 miles and change on flat on medium, so we'll see what we get today. So the battery indicators on the remote don't budge for a while, so we're at 1 mile. We're still showing 100% battery, and we've already hit 18 miles per hour. We're on a very steady incline right now, and we're hitting 17 miles per hour. All right, we have a decline here. Let's see if we have the throttle in, if it lets us exceed the speed of the medium mode. Similar to how, thinking about how the high mode cuts you off at a certain speed. Didn't really feel any slowdowns. Let's check the speed that we got. Wow, 28.5 miles per hour. Was not expecting that at all, because the high mode, when you have the throttle in, it is slowing you down. That's awesome. Still have that same amount of power going up hills, even on the medium mode. 2.5 miles, the 100% light has gone off when we have the throttle in. When we let off of the throttle, the light comes back, but with the throttle in, 100% light off. Surprisingly, up to this point, I'm enjoying the medium mode on the Hilly range test more than I am on the high mode. There's a lot more jerkiness going on with the high mode due to you reaching that max speed of the board, and then it keeps slowing you down. On this one, you're maxed out at 17, 18 miles per hour on the throttle, but then when you exceed those speeds going down hills, the board continues to speed up and it doesn't slow you down. It's very enjoyable. All right, we're at 4.3 miles. 5 miles in. Nothing out of the norm here, crushing the hill. 16 miles per hour. Still showing the 60% light with the extra stress on the board here going up the hill. We're going 12 miles per hour up the steepest part here, including rocks and bumps. Wow, that was no problem at all. Thoroughly enjoying this range test. 6.2 miles, we still have the 60% battery light indicator. This deck is extremely stiff, so after some miles, you will feel it in your feet a lot. All right, first stop. The 100% light does not come back on now when you let off the throttle, and we're at 6.9 miles. So 10.7 miles in, we're still going 16 miles per hour, and that is our average speed for the ride. This board is going to give you that consistency until the very end. All right, going up a pretty good incline here, and while we have the throttle engaged, the 60% light is not showing up. We're going 15 miles per hour, and we're at 11 miles even now. Just ran into Brian. He's on his way home from work. Shout out to Brian, he'll be in future videos for sure. All right, 14 miles even. We are averaging around 15 miles per hour now, steadily, instead of that 16, 17 miles per hour from earlier in the ride. But I'm still getting really good power up hills, still reaching high speeds. Downhill, still on that 10% light. All right, 14 and a half miles in, just started getting beeps from the board, and our 10% light on the remote is blinking. Still going 15 miles per hour on flats, despite the board beeping. All right, another big hill here. Many more beeps. Ooh, big voltage sag there. Don't really expect anything at this point, but going up inclines with the board beeping and the light blinking on the battery light indicator, we're getting about 10 miles per hour or so. Right after recording that last bit, I just got a major voltage sag, and that's gonna end the range test. 16.7 miles, very impressive. And that concludes my first round of range tests with the new battery on the Skatebolt Tornado. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, sub, comment, and I'll see you in the next one.